Good morning, and thank you for joining us. The show is Unfiltered, where we get to look at the news that has made headlines over the week, and also we look at the news headlines from across Kenya and indeed across the continent of Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and I trust that you are well. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joined and tuned, watching us from today. We start at the headlines this morning on the Daily Nation. The main headline, register behind the fight. Manual or digital, Raila wins big as court orders IEBC to use printed list of voters. Alongside the electronic kits on the election day, inside the arguments for and against the two systems and what the decision means for Chebukati. Poll rivals and voters. That story is on page 7. Man gets 100 years in jail for defiling boys in his care. That is on page 3. And bank staff on the spot as customers lose their savings. CBK says money lost through cybercrime and phone fraud remained high in 2021. That story is on page 32. Ruto alleges Sinister plot in press briefing. That story is on page 12 as well. And of course, just a reminder, we have now 3 days to go to our general elections here in the country. The Standard newspaper, the main headline, inside last 48 hours. Tomorrow marks the last day of campaigns, with candidates in a frenzy making their last speeches. And for leading presidential contenders William Ruto and Raila Odinga, it is a decisive moment. They cannot afford to stumble. That is on a special coverage on the Kivumbi 2022 on the Standard newspaper on pages 4, 6, 7, 10, and 11. And 100 years, of course, yesterday, DP Ruto raises concerns on Pulse Mix pitch in Makueni Coast. Today, UDA chief is in Kamukunji in Nairobi, and tomorrow expected to hold final mega rally at the Nyayo Stadium. And also, President Uhuru Kenyatta was very, very busy, has been extremely busy. And President Kenyatta visits Makueni, opens project at the coast. That was yesterday. And tomorrow to visit Sagana State Lodge in Nyeri. And table stand how Raila Odinga beat William Ruto to top in opinion polls. That is in there. And voters register, court orders IEBC to use manual list to complement electronic, and all of these stories that are related to the elections are on those pages that I just mentioned. At the end, of course, a very hearty congratulations to Omanyala for winning yesterday. And now Omanyala eyes prize in Worlds and Olympics. On page 44, the Commonwealth Games are ongoing in Birmingham. In the UK, the Star newspaper, the main headline, Raila and Uhuru attack Ruto over rigging claim. Odinga says he does not need provincial administration for clean victory against DP. The story is on page 4 and 5. DP said Kenyatta aware of night meetings convened to undermine polls. The story also is on page 4 and 5. And Uhuru factor in final push against Ruto in top race. That is on the Siasa pullout on page 2 and 3. So that is what we have on the leading newspapers here in the country. Let's just take a look at some newspapers from outside Kenya. And we start with Newsday from Zimbabwe. We've stopped whining. That is according to CCC. That is the opposition party led by Chamisa. And then the Daily News from Zimbabwe, still CCC pressing for dialogue reforms as 2023 national elections loom ever closer. A Daily Monitor from Uganda, free media key to democracy, says Chief Justice. Okay. And then New Vision from Uganda as well, Green Hill kids who are being trafficked. And the Citizen from Tanzania, how gas saved TANESCO 37 trillion Tanzania shillings in 16 years, and agriculture stakeholders point out areas needing intervention. Abu Dhabi, India farm set to invest in Tanzania ports. And there's one, I think, farm from, is it Dubai, that has been on the spot over the recent spate and conflict between the Maasais in Tanzania. I think the indigenous land was sold to this company from the Arab world, and they're trying to set up and take control as far as tourism in that area is concerned. And so these poor Maasais have been moved from their ancestral land, and nobody's I think, offering them a better alternative, and they're refusing to leave. So that also has been a matter of conflict there in Tanzania. And it's interesting the interest that these countries in the UAE has in Tanzania. The Daily Telegraph from the UK: recession to cause record drop in income. That is what we have. And the Guardian from the UK: the burning issue. The main headline revealed the 12 extreme weather events that would have been virtually impossible without human-driven global heating. And then the Nation from Nigeria: 2023 PDP can win without Wike. Atiku tells parties BOT. And then the Guardian from Nigeria as well: Atiku breaks the ice, meets Wike in Abuja. So that is what we have. And some of the papers from Africa and outside. And of course, we started with some of the leading papers here in the country, which is Kenya. And we are situated at the country's capital here in Nairobi, and it's just about 10 a.m. Thank you so much. Now I'm joined by Gladwell Kiragu from Nairobi. Gladwell, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to Miriam. Good morning to my fellow panelists. Good morning to our viewers. Coming live from Kiambu County.
Oh, today you're in Kiambu. Very well. Okay, and we're also joined by Douglas Kirimi from Meru County. Douglas, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu, and also to my friend Jevan Karanja. He of the Come Out and Vote, and also to Kiptanui Savenia and Gladwell Kirago, and also Oresisana Talwish. Good morning, good afternoon, and also good evening, depending on where they're watching us from. And thank you for having me on the show, Miriam. I'm coming to you live from Meru. It's very chilly here, but we are ready to go and vote on Tuesday and maintain peace.
All right. Absolutely. And that is the message that we should be encouraging, even as we only have just a few days, 3 days, to our elections. Good morning, Kiptanui Sivania from Nakuru.
A very good morning to you. Good morning to you, my sister Miriam. Good morning, Gladwell. Good morning, Jeffan. Good morning, Douglas, Tarwish, our viewers. Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching us from. I'm coming live to you from Nakuru County. It is also chilly here in Nakuru, but we are ready to go and vote and maintain peace. Thank you for having me this morning on this great show.
Absolutely. It is a pleasure, Kiptanui. And last but certainly not least is Samuel Tawish. He's been traveling. I don't know where he is today. He will tell us. But Samuel Tawish, it is a pleasure to have you on the show this morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Miriam Mogutu. Good morning to colleague panelists, and good morning to our viewers watching this program. A pleasure to join you on this program. Good morning, Miriam. I'm coming to you live from Nairobi.
Okay. So President Uhuru Kenyatta has been unveiling a lot of projects, some of which we didn't even know were ongoing. He's been very, very busy. The list is endless. And I think yesterday when he was speaking in Mombasa, he said, look at all these things that, today Kenyans get to enjoy. He mentioned a couple of roads and other developmental projects that have specifically in Mombasa. And then he called his deputy a liar, because the deputy president, William Ruto, has been saying since the handshake, nothing really has happened. And the handshake did upset, especially the Big Four agenda that President Uhuru Kenyatta was saying, no, this is how much I've been able to do. And he cited the Dongo Kundu Road, and he said, this is a project that started in 2020. Please, if I'm wrong, remind me when the handshake happened. And he mentioned a couple of other, development projects that have been taking place. I don't know what you make of, even as we wind up on looking at President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy, perhaps it will be a good place to start with this morning, Gladwell.
Thank you so much, Miriam. And I always say our president, he's actually retiring a very happy man, and he has actually delivered to his the fulfillment, although not 100%, but he has quite delivered a lot. And that is something I always say we'll remember him for. But again, Miriam, I had a discussion yesterday with somebody, and he was telling me he is in support of Uhuru Kenyatta and what he's doing. But these last moments, it's not the time him as a president to start saying that I mean, he should be on the forefront saying that on Tuesdays we wake up to vote. Can you vote peacefully? Him being a president is the one who should actually be leading it as a country. I mean, it's not the right time currently because time is already gone. We can't
It's not the right. It's not the right time to do what? What is it that President Kenyatta said that you feel was not in order?
Currently, it's not the time for them to start now. I mean, kama kurushania, this is not the time, Miriam. We're only 3 days too. What you should be looking at and what the president should be doing, we have seen he has delivered, and that he has delivered 100%.
But for President Kenyatta, who is, I think, defending, from what I was hearing and from the perspective he was coming from what I was understanding, and you can correct me, he was just trying to defend his legacy because his deputy has been saying nothing much has been done. So he's saying, hey, that is that is not true. This is all that have been able to be done for the last 3 or so years. And my deputy has been saying, the handshake upset all the developmental activities that are supposed to be taking place, and President Uhuru Kenyatta was correcting that.
Miriam, let me tell you something. If I was a president, I could not come out and tell the people what I have done. The reason being, Miriam, even when he did not say it, we have seen what the president has done. We have seen it. It's not whether he says it or not, we have seen it. And for that, the reason I'm saying this is not the time, Miriam, it's because no matter how he tells the people that I have delivered, there are those people who still won't believe he has delivered. And that's why, Miriam, I'm saying this is not the time. Those who have eyes can see that actually Uhuru Kenyatta has delivered. Those who believe and not even believing, because his work is definitely seen, Miriam. That's why I'm saying, he's trying to explain to the people who can't change their mind. I mean, there's that 30% of the people, no matter how he sings to them, he beats the drum for them, they can't change their mindset. And that's why I'm saying this is not the time, Miriam, for him to start saying that the deputy president is actually telling, no, this is the time you should be saying on Tuesday, can you wake up and vote? And as you vote, can you go and vote for the person who my legacy trend will continue, and what I have done won't go to waste, Miriam. That is the song you should be singing now, not of my deputy president. And that's why I'm saying, Miriam, no matter whether he has another 100 days to go and he's still saying that I have done. I have told you, Miriam, we have seen he has done it. And that's why I said, I'm sorry to use this word, only the blind can't see what our president has done. So, and that's why I'm saying this is not the right time, Miriam. He should be singing another version. And that is the version we want to hear of him. Only 2 days, Miriam. I mean, the person who is already decided who is decided already is going to vote for UDA within those 2 days, and has been a diehard fan for UDA for the last 4 years. We can't change his mindset, Miriam.
Okay.
We can't.
All right.
Yeah.
I hear you. Thank you so much. Gladwell is saying this is not the right time, Mr. President. He'll be telling us to go vote. But I think I heard him say go out and vote. But also I think just preaching peace, which I think I also heard him. But you're saying he should not be, this is not the time to be talking about this project. Because who has already made up their minds, they already did. So this time it's difficult to convince some Kenyans. And I do agree with you on that part. Douglas, what say you?
I want to disagree. Thank you, Miriam. I want to disagree with Miriam. President Obama,
you want to disagree
Narendra Modi, Jacob Zuma, people all over the world vote for what they have done for their people. You have to give a scorecard of what you have done. Even after President Uhuru Kenyatta leaves office, his legacy will still live on, and he will always say that I did this road, I did that road, and I did this for the benefit of the people of Kenya. So, Gradwell telling me that President Kenyatta should not call us to Sagana tomorrow and tell us what he has done, it is fallacy. It is in history. Even Abraham Lincoln was showcasing what he did. He held together the confederation of the U.S. people, the states in America when they wanted to break to south and also north. He held the 52 states as we know them today, Gradwell. And also, President Kibaki was telling people what he has done. I think there's also a disconnect between President Moi, President Kibaki, President Jomo Kenyatta I, and also President Uhuru Kenyatta. We live in an age of technology. We live in an age where a person is living in Kainuk. It says that the only thing President Kenyatta has done is the road from Lokicha to Rondwa and the Kainuk Bridge and all that. But we need to also tell the people that the president has done the Makupa Bridge. He needs to also tell Kenyans, I have a decent way of doing business in Mombasa. When you go to Mombasa, I saw Javan Karanja and myself and others covering the Makupa Bridge. Very fantastic tourist attraction. The only bridge that has been able to open up Mombasa since 1929 to be an island, true status of an island. But today, there's no way you can tell us that the president should not go out and tell Tawish that I've done this thing, this and this in Narok. Tawish lives in Nairobi. He needs to know what has been done in his own backyard. We need to also know what is done everywhere so that we can be able to give us true scorecard of what the President of the Republic of Kenya has done across the country. I believe from my perspective, Miriam, that we, the people of Kenya, deserve the scorecard of President Uhuru Kenyatta from the horse's mouth. He needs to tell the people of Garissa, from Garissa to Mondogash, it is a journey that used to take you 3 to 5 days on a rainy day, but I have been able to hasten that because I've been able to tarmac that road to international tarmac standards, and I've been able to put up the road from Moyale and to Marisabit and also to Isiolo County, such that going up to the north will never take you 6 or 7 days. It will take you one day. In less than 8 hours, you are able to move from Isiolo to Moyale. You can be able to transport your goods across the nation of Kenya and also the nation of Ethiopia using that road. We need to be told by the President of the Republic of Kenya, Nairobi was a mess, and I came in and I put up infrastructure across the country. I yearned to put up infrastructure in slums, that people in slums that were buying water at 20 shillings get it for free, courtesy of my government under NMS, under my own general that I took from the army and brought him to Nairobi City County. Nairobi was stinking under Sonko, and I brought a general that he fixed everything in the city and made sure that people in the slums can access electricity like a person living in Kirimani. The president needs to tell us, the people of Meru, we used to have a jam that can cause you stay for 3 or 5 hours in a traffic jam, but I have constructed bypasses for you. I've constructed a modern sewerage system for Maua Town, Timau Town, and also Meru Town. All these 3 municipalities have benefited from the Republic of Kenya under President Uhuru Kenyatta. We need to be told that my village had no electricity connection to our primary schools, but the President of the Republic of Kenya did it. We need to be told by the President, the people of Meru had no title deeds across the country. People are suffering to get title deeds, but he has been able to title them and give them their title deeds such that they can educate their children. If my father, for example, is struggling to pay my school fees, he can take my his title deeds and also get me school fees, educate me to the highest level I can go. We need to be told what the president has been able to do, whether he is in office or not. We need to be told that the people of Dongo Kutu, which is I'm very passionate about, and also the special economic zone in Dongokundu. We need to be told everything the president has done, including Bason free affordable housing projects. We need to be told all these things gradually. On my part, I believe the President of the Republic of Kenya has an opportunity to tell the people and call the bluff as it is, and even tell political distractors that this is what I have done. And I believe this is the next person that will take this country forward. This is the person that will also take this country forward in terms of my legacy and in terms of my vision for what I believe Kenya should be. Every person should be able to sound their own trumpet and also tell us what they have been able to do. If President Kenyatta does not market his own projects, who is going to market for him when his own deputy goes out and says that he has done nothing? For example, the president has been able to deliver in terms of infrastructure, electricity, education, and a lot of things in this country. Who will tell us what he has done if the president himself cannot do, including through his own presidential delivery unit? Because the people have said the president has even taken loans for this country, and there's nothing that he has done. Money has been stolen. He needs to tell us that he has been able to build a road. The standard gauge railway has even gone to Suswa. Water projects have been able to reach Suswa. We have to be told that in Nakuru County, industries are going to sprout up because Nakuru County has also been able to run another geothermal project in the county. We need to be told that this country is going forward because the president has been deliberate on development agenda, and he has been able to deal with the corruption cartels to some extent, and he has said that the next phase of dealing with the corruption cartels can be dealt with Martha Karua and Raila Odinga. Thank you, Miriam.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for this conversation. Actually, I want to join my brother Douglas by saying that Uhuru Kenyatta has a right actually to show us what has been happening, what he has been doing because he's actually retiring and he has good plans for us, and he wants this country to be steered economically, socially, and in terms of peace, so that whoever is going to hand over will take over and continue with the projects and some other things that he might have not finished. Miriam, when you see on all the social media platforms, everybody, especially the incumbent MPs and MCS, are trying to showcase what they have done. That is why I know why the person who was who had conversation with Gladwell was of that opinion that President Uhuru Kenyatta is not supposed to be actually telling us what he has done or sharing maneno with his deputy. It is because you see what is happening is that many of the people, Miriam, are of the opinion that Uhuru Kenyatta is making a lot of impact when he's telling people from 2013 to 2017, we didn't achieve much. It was marked by corruption. It is evidence. You can see it is evidence. When he says after handshake, which took place on March 2018 up to now, I achieved through, not necessarily through Raila Odinga. It was because there was a lot of peace and a lot when there is no peace, Miriam, there is nothing that can happen. Another thing I want to bring to your attention is that as we said, because of this week, we will be having a lot of propaganda. One of the propaganda that is being spread this morning, Miriam, is an allegation which is being spread by my brother Dennis Itumbi that in this town, yesterday night, there was a meeting at Arama's place. I don't know why these people are so much concentrating in Nakuru politics. But I know why they are concentrating in Nakuru politics. We have almost 1 million voters around here, Miriam. And it's only two constituencies that William Ruto will brag on that he's going to get votes. So you see, if there are meetings that are going on around here between, there is no way that the current MP of Nakuru West, Mr. Samuel Arama, can hold a meeting with county commissioner. These are allegations. Susan Kika one time was accusing him, was accusing also county commissioners. So I want to tell my people who are watching us from Nakuru that there are no meetings like that. Let us know it is propaganda. It is a sense of defeat. Now, Miriam, as we are moving, we are still have 24 hours, or we still have some few days so that we call it a day, so that we go to this polling station. There are a lot of movements in Nakuru. People are going back to village. And I was worried in the morning until I stepped to another stage, a prominent stage, which it carries people who are going to Western, Kakamega, Kitale. Then I asked one mama, why are you people going? Why are you? Mbona mnasafiri na ni watu wengi hapa? They told me 2007, 2008, we learned a lot of lessons. We were in Nakuru, some of us were in Nairobi. But after consideration violence of 2007, 2008, we decided to change our voting pattern. We decided to change vote at village. So I want to assure this country and I want to assure the residents of Nakuru that when you see people are going, they are not going home because there will be violence. They are not going home because there are a lot of threats. No, they are going home to vote because some of them are voting in Kandui, some of them are voting in Transoya, some of them are voting in Kisumu, Kisian. And when you see people moving, don't go anywhere. The security here is tight. We are going to vote because when you go, that vote that you have been bragging to be voting for, you are the candidate of your choice, whether it is Raila Odinga, whether it's Wachakoya, whether it is Maure, whether it is William Ruto, will not make sense because we would have not voted. So let us maintain peace as we are moving towards this. I submit.
All right, thank you so much. And I think there's something very important there that I think you spoke about, Kiptanui, and that is when President Uhuru Kenyatta is highlighting some of the things that he's been able to achieve, especially after the handshake. As much as, of course, he's the chairperson of Azimio, and of course he has announced his support for Raila Odinga, but also maybe he's underscoring the importance of that handshake and the atmosphere that it created in this country in terms of stability and peace that has enabled some of these things to pick off and the economy to stabilize and for the development and for the economy to grow. Believe it or not, even in COVID, the economy of Kenya grew. So President Uhuru Kenyatta could be speaking on the atmosphere this handshake created, and not necessarily because he's supporting Raila, but of course, the way it is right now, it's very difficult to divorce those two. And so, Samuel Sawish, let's just start from where, Gladwell opened the fire this morning, and she said, no, President Uhuru Kenyatta should not be selling the things that he's been able to do. This is the time he should be speaking of, peace and unity as a country. Of course, him being the symbol of unity. And so it is not the time to look like he's campaigning or he's unveiling some of these things that he's doing. What's your opinion?
Thank you so much, Miriam, and thank you for colleague correspondents for the submissions. Indeed, Miriam, I understand the context with which Gladwell was trying to make her commentary in as far as that particular report is concerned. Because according to Gladwell, if I've just got her right, I think she was just trying to say that maybe President Kenyatta should not labor so much to tell Kenyans what he has done, because what he has done is out here for everyone to feel and touch. We can have a feel and a touch of what President Kenyatta has done. But that said and done, it is also important, Miriam. They say when it is absolutely necessary, you can also blow your own trumpet. And I think that is what President Kenyatta has been doing, reminding Kenyans what he's been able to do, because again, his term in office is coming to a closure in just a couple of days. And so it is important for him even to tell Kenyans or to showcase exactly what he has been able to achieve vis-a-vis what were the promises or the pledges he made to the people of Kenya when he came into office in 2013 and in the subsequent elections in 2017. And even at a time when President Kenyatta has come out to express, displaying his express, of course, a desire to have Raila Odinga succeed him as the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. The people of Kenya really need to understand why it is important and significant to vote for Raila Amolo Odinga and Martha Karua ticket. Why am I saying so? Because again, if President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga are connected, they are conjoined, the people of Kenya must be able really to see what has been achieved ever since President Uhuru Kenyatta chose to work hand in hand with Raila Amolo Odinga. When they chose to have this handshake, when they chose really to bury the political hatchet, the differences they had, to come together for the sake of the people of Kenya and for the sake of the developmental trajectory in this country, they have achieved immensely. And that's why he comes every other time with this reminder that look unto what we have been able to achieve when this country is at peace, when this country, when we work together as brothers and sisters in this country, we can be able to achieve a lot. And therefore, he will want a continuation of this. He will want a legacy, his legacy to be maintained. And so when he comes out and showcases these legacies, it trickles down, or rather it triggers the memory of the people of Kenya, especially as we're getting into the ballot, to understand and appreciate the significance of the unity of the country and the unity of our people, and in this case, Kenya, and what a country can be able to achieve in terms of pursuing her prosperity when the people are united. And I think that is the message that President Kenyatta is trying to pass across to the people of Kenya. Because again, if it were not for the handshake, if it were not for the unity, the coming together, the reconciliation amongst the Kenyan population, then probably will not have had the opportunity for the president and this country to make the milestone and progress that it has made so far. And that's why he stresses so much on the unity of purpose. So that is why he stresses so much on making sure that we maintain the peace and stability that we're enjoying today in this country. And according to his own judgment, President Kenyatta thinks that former Prime Minister and ODM leader Raila Odinga is the person who is best suited to take this country forward from where he's going to leave it. And I think it's very, very important. A second thing, Miriam, you've also been able to listen unto the politicians, especially those who are opposed to President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying that he has not done so much, especially during his second term in office, because Deputy President William Ruto was sidelined allegedly. But again, the president then has to come to his defense and tell Kenyans, remind Kenyans the true position. What is the fact? I mean, you have to do a comparative analysis between what President Kenyatta has been able to achieve between 2013 to 2017, vis-a-vis 2017 to 2022, when he has had this handshake with his brother, Raila Amolo Odinga. And so when people come and heap all manner of blames to President Uhuru Kenyatta, trying to label him as a lame duck president, trying to characterize him as a person who has not achieved to the expectation of the people of Kenya, or rather who has not lived up to the expectation of the people of Kenya, the president has a right to come out really and defend his legacy and defend that what that which he has been able to achieve and do for the people of Kenya. But true to what President Kenyatta has been saying, Miriam, the entire Punchline Africa TV crew, we've been all over this country moving around, seeing what the president is doing. In fact, if a stranger came to this country today, they will wonder and they will even be shocked that a president who is serving his second and last time in office continues to serve people of Kenya to the last minute while he's still in the office. President Kenyatta continues to launch various projects, those that have been completed and some which are still underway. He continues to launch even new projects that which the new administration will have to take over. Even the other day, I saw him even giving a charter to Alupe University in Busia, western part of Kenya. I mean, the people of western part of Kenya are really very, very happy and impressed that the president is doing this. Even in his last days in office, he does not want to leave any work unattended, so that whoever is going to win in this coming election, be it William Ruto, be it Wajakoya, be it Maure or Raila Odinga, should not come with excuses that maybe the outgoing president did leave a very huge burden in terms of the workload or in terms of the unfinished business. And that's why you see President Kenyatta really trying to beat the deadline and make sure that he does that which he promised the people of Kenya, that by the time I exit office, I should have accomplished so much in terms of my pledges, if not all. So President Kenyatta, kudos for what he has done for the people of Kenya. It has given so much of us an inspiration and confidence that even as you guide the people of Kenya in this new dispensation that we are going to have after the 9th August general election, that we are going to have a continuation of your legacy, a continuation of the unity of purpose for this country, because by the end of the day, that is what is critical, and that is the driving force for the prosperity of any nation. Without the unity, without the peace, without the stability, then there's not so much that we can be able to achieve. We have seen the greatest economies in the world really crumble down simply because they have gone to war. Kenya does not want to find itself in such kind of situation. And that's why President Kenyatta is very keen and persuading the people of Kenya that in as much as it's a democratic right as you go to the ballot, but I do not think that he's committing any sin just to guide the people of Kenya in making that right decision a correct democratic choice when it comes to the ballot. Because by the end of the day, we will all be here. If this country comes down to ashes, then all of us will have to lose it. If it's about war, most of us will die, if not lose our property or even lose our loved ones. So it is important and very critical that we continue to pursue and preach peace even as we get into this election, and make sure that we listen unto our president, the passionate appeal that it is important for us to maintain that very trajectory and that his legacy continues. And his belief is that it is only Raila Odinga and Martha Karua ticket that he has confidence, and I believe the majority of Kenyans will really subscribe to that thought and ideology to support this call by President Uhuru Kenyatta to vote in Raila Odinga come the 9th of August. Miriam Ogutu, I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know if we have another person there. I'm not sure, but before we even get to that, I think it will be proper for me to give Gladwell an opportunity, if at all she wants to say something. Gladwell, you started off this.
I noticed Miriam Ogutu is not, I think she has some technical issue over there. Maybe if we could have Javan Karanja just to make a brief commentary on this topic we are discussing this morning. Javan Karanja, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Samuel, and the people there in studio. And the topic is very interesting. And I think President Uhuru Kenyatta has a right, like any other Kenyan, to sell and to tell Kenyans what he has done for the 2 terms that he has been in office. Because he came to Kenyans, he sold his manifesto. This is the time to come and show how he has implemented or whether he have achieved what he promised the good people of this country. And to my surprise or to my expectations, President Uhuru Kenyatta has done extremely well in ensuring that 90% of what he promised Kenyans in his campaign trail in 2017 and 2013 has been delivered. When you talk of the Makupa Bridge, when you talk of Viba Dam, when you talk of other mega projects across the country, which has materialized in his tenure, is a clear indication that President Uhuru Kenyatta has done quite a lot in ensuring that he meets the expectation of majority of people of Kenya. On the issue of politics and the current waves of the politics in the country, I think the constitution of a country makes clear that everyone has a right to support a candidate of their choice, including the head of state. Therefore, there's nothing big with President Uhuru Kenyatta endorsing the former Prime Minister. It's his democratic right. He has a right to do so because at the end of the day, he will go and vote like any other Kenyan. Therefore, on that issue, I think he has a right even to tell his people in Mount Kenya region, I think this is a route that we need to follow because this is where our interest will be achieved. Or this is a route, this is a person who can make this region continue enjoying tremendous progress in terms of developments and the other things that comes with being in government. I think there's nothing out of order that President Uhuru Kenyatta is doing. He's just doing what other head of state have been doing across the world. We have seen Obama campaigning for Joe Biden and all other heads of state, even retired president, having their input in the current affairs of our country. Therefore, that is not an exception to Kenyan people. Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you so much, Javan Karanja. And I think Javan Karanja has really expounded on that topic in that there are so many people, especially the critics of President Uhuru Kenyatta, who are coming out and asking this question. How come that President Uhuru Kenyatta is so much keen on his succession? And I think to what extent does a sitting president's right, individual right really cease to exist? Does it mean that being a head of state and one who is outgoing, it does not have that fundamental democratic right really to come to Kenyans and tell them his true position, his true heart as to the person he will prefer really to succeed him. Only that maybe the thing will be, he does not need really to influence the outcome of that particular election. And I think President Kenyatta has always insisted, and even in making this passionate appeal to Kenyans that come out and vote for your preferred candidate, but it is in my considered view that Raila Amolo Odinga really fits the bill and is the person who should take over from me. But regardless, the choice lies with the people of Kenya to make that decision when it comes to the ballot on the 9th of August for them to determine the future trajectory of this nation. Something else I would want to get a brief commentary from, of course, the correspondent drawn from various parts of this country is that what is your take about Deputy President William Ruto's allegation that there's been various night meetings being held really to curtail his pursuit for power? And he's given an example of a meeting that was held allegedly in Nakuru State Lodge a couple of days ago, and he continues even to blame the public servants, the administration, especially the Ministry of Interior, drawing the names of Interior CS, of course, Matiang'i, as well as Karanja Kibicho, who is the PS for Interior, and so many other, of course, government officials that they are actually hell-bent on making sure that he does not win the coming election. I don't understand how these whatever kind of meetings that the government officials, especially when you look into the security apparatus, we are getting into an election. By law, it is the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, which of course oversees the election exercise, preparation and conducting this exercise. But it cannot do so without the support and working together with other institutions, key among them being the security organization. Because again, IEBC will need the security personnel to be able to do their job. And so when the Ministry of Interior or the Honorable Matiang'i and maybe PS Kibicho come together to make sure that a security is elaborate, right from the grassroots, beginning with assistant chiefs, to the chiefs, to the county commissioners, regional commissioners, and all other security apparatus in the country. Deputy President William Ruto is reading some malice and mischief out of all these meetings. I don't know what is your perspective. Maybe at this point I shall begin with Douglas Bundi Kirimi all the way from Meru before I get onto the rest of the correspondence. Douglas Bundi, over to you.
I wish Dr. Joe is on call. Maybe you can bring him up first.
Okay, in the meantime, maybe we can have Kipton Luis Savania, if you heard me right, in terms of what I've asked. Deputy President William Ruto has been making allegations, wild allegations. We've seen him hold press conferences with his Kenya Kwanza Brigade, alleging that government officials, even drawing the name of President Uhuru Kenyatta, that they've been holding secret meetings to try and, of course, curtail his pursuit for power or his journey to State House. I don't know what is the feeling on the ground about these meetings. Is security apparatus or government officials not entitled really to conduct these meetings? even if it's not night meetings, really to try and strategize and make sure that we have a seamless and a smooth election come the 9th of August. Keep turning.
Thank you, my brother, my brother Tarwish. I mean, Nakuru, where there have been a lot of blames, there have been a lot of allegations, and these allegations are timely. As I say, Tarwish in subsequent shows, Nakuru County is a cosmopolitan. It is inhabited by all communities, and we have almost 1 million voters. What I want to say that Tarwish is that, and you remember, Nakuru County in 2007-2008 hosted the post-election violence victims. Up to now, we still have some few of them in pipeline. And you see, Nakuru County, Molo is in Nakuru County, Kuresoi, North and South, Naswet, Maunaro, Njoro, has been experiencing subsequent violence since 1987, and after every 5 years, every 5 years, because of land. Land here, as I said yesterday, Tarwish, that there is especially in Naswet. In Naswet, it is perceived that it's Okiek territory, but you see, most of the people perceived from Kipsigis community, they just came early 90s, occupy the Okiek land, so they don't have proper titles and everything. So land has been a problem in Nakuru County, and you see, politicians have participated in inciting these people, my brother Tarwish. And you see, and it is also shame for a person of Deputy President Tarwish to give these allegations that we've been having night meetings. You see, Tarwish, if you are in this country in 2013, all right, you are around in 2013. You are also around in 2017. But does it mean that these meetings were not being held around here? It is normal security meetings, Tarwish. As you see, I was in Naswet last time when you and your brother Jepan and Douglas were running legacy train in Mombasa. And I've attended all these security meetings. I was in Naswet, and you could have chat. You saw when I was presenting people a chat for the brother guys. You see, yesterday, the day after, I think on 2 days ago, they stole the deputy OCS in their shopping centers around there. So it has been an hotspot for this violence, not because, and you see that 80% of people who are living in Aswata College of Kikuyu, of Kipsigis origin and of Kiek. And why are they fighting? You see, I told you there is a problem there. And you see, Tarwish, we thank the Ministry of Interior for giving them the police car. When I was there, we complained, the complaints were there, there were no car, and police were given a new car. We thank the Ministry of Interior. You see, Tarwish, Nakuru West, where I'm standing, it's not far from Nakuru West, where we have their member of parliament, Samuel Arama, who has been accused of having these meetings. You see, when the head of state was here, Miriam and Tarwish, I said, another panelist, the last time I said that when the head of state was in this town, he didn't meet only people from Nakuru. Can you imagine all the way people from Elgeyo Marakwet, Buseki, and another team from Nandi preparing for? They wanted to meet president and tell them, Your Excellency, we didn't benefit from your government. What happened to our dams? What happened to what you had promised us that time? And President Uhuru Kenyatta did not make people of Kikuyu origin alone in Keshia farm. You see, I want to state in this television today, Miriam, and some of the panelists around who are here, because I'm here in Nakuru, that there is a problem here. Chief from Sururu is only 1 kilometer from Maunaro. Chief from Sururu who happens to be a Kalenjin, was in the meeting, and the assistant Chief Mr. Ngoto, who is a chief in Maunaro, CIB is a location in Maunaro, was also in the same meeting. Chief from Mauche, who happens to be a Kalenjin, was there. Chief from Likia, who happens to be a Kikuyu, was there. Chief from Naswet, who happens to be a Kalenjin, was in this meeting. Chief from Joro and all other people who are serving national government under the office of the president were in this meeting. Why is it that they were not mentioned? And after this meeting, Miriam, there was no other meeting that was held by the president of the Republic of Kenya. Why is it that Moses Kuria is saying that you are having this meeting? Why is it that William Ruto is saying that you are having this meeting to disturb peace? It is for sympathy, and he wanted the MP, the current MP for Joro, who happens to be married to Mr. Chepkwani Sakalaji, has been spreading AIDS. You see, the aspirant for Jubilee, Mheshimiwa Kiuna has been he was an MP there also one the fine time. So he was the former MP. Njenga Mungai was also an MP. But the problem is that William Ruto and his brigade, Tarwish, knows very well that the seat has gone and he wants to use the violence, he wants to use the backdoor because also all the loopholes have been sealed. You see, this morning I saw somebody posted that we are going to have manual register. And somebody asked me, what is your view? And I said, maybe Sinister, who has been bragging to be the ICT guru, wanted to use Russians, use these people who are in this country illegally to manipulate elections using Kim's kids. And we are supposed to, I want to call upon people when we are together in this Rift Valley that let us not listen to the propaganda being peddled by William Ruto, being peddled by his keyboard boy, Mr. Dennis Itumbi and Moses Kuria. We are at peace in this place and the meetings are normal. Security meetings can be held. You cannot tell people not to have security meetings. If the country will plunge to violence, who will be blamed? Uhuru Kenyatta and the whole security. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Tawish, for holding the fort. Just still staying with that topic that you've introduced, I see the stories on page 12, so I'll just give a bit of a background, and then the rest of the panelists who have not commented on this can give their opinion. Page 12 of the Daily Nation, Deputy President William Ruto yesterday launched a scathing attack on President Uhuru Kenyatta, accusing his boss of planning to disrupt the general election set for next Tuesday. The Kenya Kwanza Alliance presidential candidate claimed that the president was behind alleged night meetings he said were called to plot conflict ahead of the elections. Recently, the president met people in Nakuru, and the outcome of that meeting is not good for the country, apart from threats to the members of the team who are leaders. What is emerging from those meetings is eventually the leaflets and pamphlets distributed warning communities in some parts of the country, the same old stuff that has taken Kenya through a lot of pain, Dr. Ruto said. The DP did not provide any evidence for these allegations, and of course, and contracted by the nation, Interior Coordination of National Government Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i flatly accused the DP of lying. So if the DP is going to say that the commander-in-chief of this country is planning and plotting to cause conflict in some parts of this country, because that is what the deputy president said, but he's unable to provide evidence on the same. Anybody who has not commented on it? Yeah, go ahead, Glado.
Miriam, let me go faster. And then I want the panel to understand why I see this is not the time for the president to showcase. Okay, I'm not saying that he should not showcase what he has done, but I think despite him going along, projecting what he has done, there's some things that he should be actually advocating for. And, more so peace. Because what the deputy president is doing currently, let me call it provoking the peace that is in our country. Because, Miriam, there are some Kenyans, definitely, no matter how bad you tell them the DP is, they always listen to what the deputy president says, and they're his diehard fans. That's why I say that despite Uhuru going on around, there are people who can't change their stand no matter what. Miriam...
Let me just stop you there, and sorry, because I really want you to complete your thought. The fact that the people who are diehard supporters of the deputy president, and there are people who are diehard supporters of Raila Odinga, of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and other political leaders, they do have the support base. And should that even make it more important for him to be mindful of what he's saying, for him to come out and say the commander-in-chief of this republic is planning to cause chaos and conflict in parts of this country? Don't you think that is reckless, and he did not provide any evidence to that effect?
Now, that is what I was coming to, Miriam. That's why I'm saying this is not the right time for the reason being, when the deputy president says that the person in charge of security is actually coming out here and maybe doing 1, 2, 3, that is provoking the peace in our country. And that's why, Miriam, now at where I'm seated, I now understand why people are fearing this election and actually going home. People are going home actually because they fear, because of what the deputy president is saying, Miriam. Because at the end of it all, each person has his or her support, and that's why we are saying what you say is very important, Miriam. And that's what I'm saying, as the president of Kenya, he should be telling the people, stop listening to this man. I am in charge. And the same thing that happened, because let us go back to the handshake. the president saw it wise for them to have the handshake because of the peace of the country. So that should be his agenda number one, the peace of our country, Kenya. And that is when he should be coming out and actually condemning what the DP is saying. For instance, Miriam, if something happens during the election, the Kenyans will actually come to fight, and I'm sure of it. The Kenyan who start the war will actually say, even the deputy president said that they will say that the head of defense are the ones who are going to make who are going to make our country fight. So you can see the allegations that will be there, and that's why I'm saying, and the worst part is that the deputy president has manipulated so many people and brainwashed the people. And that's why I'm saying, Miriam, there's some people who can't reason with their own mind. They are listening to what somebody else is saying and reasoning actually according to the statement. For instance, what the deputy president has been saying, there's somebody who can tell him that what the DP said was wrong and it's not correct, but will tell you, no, it was very correct, Miriam. And that's what I'm saying, the president, him being the head of security, that is what he should be condemning, Miriam. That at the end of it all, after 9th of August, after the election, we still have our country. Let everybody support who he wants, but this time, the 2-3 days remaining, Miriam, I mean, this is not the time for you accusing so-and-so with, pledging allegations which you don't have evidence for, Miriam. That is hate. Let me call it, that is spreading propaganda, spreading actually false information that could lead to Kenya actually raining wars back to the 207, 208, Miriam.
Thank you so much.
Miriam,
Go ahead.
the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, has been holding meetings at night, during midday, in the morning, and in the evening at the current residence for the last 4 years. President Uhuru Kenyatta has been holding meetings as long as I can remember. He's been holding meetings before he became an MP, when he was an MP, when he was the Deputy Prime Minister, when he was president. Actually, we've been hosted for meetings at night and during the day at the State House and also at Sagana State House, State Road, to be able to support the President of the Republic of Kenya in his bid to be president and also to deliver and all that. And actually, the president is even running out of time. He should meet as many people as possible. This is the end of state, Miriam. If the president is wrong to hold a meeting in his own official residence, there's nothing that we can do, Miriam. And when William Ruto comes out to the fore and tells us that the president has been holding night meetings which are not good for Kenyans, and he held the same meetings in 2017 that were the same good meetings for Kenya, because Deputy President William Ruto was assured of cabinet portfolios and also as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. We should stop hypocrisy in this country. We should stop this kind of malfunction on the side of Deputy President William Ruto. When it is President Uhuru Kenyatta helping another person, it is wrong. When he was helping both of them, it was right, it was constitutional, it was very good, and actually, he said it is a gift from heaven for President Uhuru Kenyatta to hold meetings and meet the people of Kenya. He said this is the best thing that happened. I remember Deputy President saying that the government is using state officials to campaign for Azimio la Umoja. In 2017, in July, the same Deputy President William Ruto took Matiang'i to Kisii and said, we employed your son here, and Matiang'i campaigned for Jubilee Party. Everyone campaigned for Jubilee Party as of that time. But at the end of the day, we have a problem here when William Ruto tells us now it is wrong for us to have government leaders and people who feel that this is the right way that they should be able to campaign. And I thank the Interior PS, Karanja Kebicho. He said that Dr. William Ruto, we are not doing anything differently than we did in 2017. What we did in 2017 is the same of what we are doing today. And I believe from my perspective that the President of the Republic of Kenya is a peace-loving man, is a person of high discipline, and he cannot be able to deviate from the same and cause chaos in this country. And why would the president cause chaos in this country? For what benefit and for whose benefit? The only person who would benefit when there are chaos in this country is Deputy President William Ruto. Because these kind of allegations, we cannot hear them from Professor George Wajakoya, a very good man with also his own opinion. The Reverend Bishop Mwaure has also his own opinion. Nobody is stifling him. Nobody can stifle the President of the Republic of Kenya from holding meetings meeting the people. And also, when we visit the president, for example, if he comes to Sagana tomorrow or comes to Meru, what would stop me from visiting the president and thanking him for his legacy and also for what he has done for us as a people? Not unless I don't get security clearance. But if I get an opportunity, we can meet him at night the way we have been meeting him. We can meet him during the day. Nobody is fanning wars, drums of war in this country than William Ruto and co. In this country, the president is free to go even to my house at night if I allow him to, and come and meet me and talk to me. There's nothing bad as a country whose leaders are leading us to war, knowingly that this is also very bad for our own country, gauging from where we are coming from as a country. I, Douglas Kelemi, I have no problem with the President of the Republic of Kenya holding meetings anywhere in this country. He can come to our village, he can come to my town, the Meru town, and also he can come to any municipality in this county and meet us and talk to us. And what's the problem? We've had people going at night, leaders talking. William Ruto has been meeting people even in Meru and any other place. I have evidence where I've seen him meeting people at night. We've seen Deputy President William Ruto campaigning at night in Kikuyuland. We've seen him in Kandara. We've seen him in Keharu. We've seen him in other places in central Kenya. We've seen him at the president's backyard at night campaigning very late at around 8 a.m. or 7 p.m. 8 p.m. and also 7 p.m. This is uncalled for, and Deputy President William Ruto hoping that a torrent of insults that he has been able to open to President Kenyatta is going to help him. I'm sorry, it's not going to help. And at the end of the day, the people know that leaders hold meetings, including in their private residence, at night, during the day. Everyone has the potential and as opportunity and as a permission to hold a legal meeting at their home, whether they are planning politics, whether they are talking about business, whether they are talking about social issues. People meet at night. I will hold 3 or 4 meetings at night tonight myself. And I've not committed any crime, Dr. William Ruto. You yourself, you've been holding meetings in a government residence for the last 4 years, at night, in the morning, midday, every other time. We have had no problem with that. Why is it now that you are talking now the president is doing meetings today, day and night? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Douglas Bundi, and thank you, of course, the fellow correspondents for that. I think I'll also make just a brief commentary on the same. From where I sit, I think there are telltale signs of a person who has already sensed defeat. This is Deputy President William Ruto. Because for the last about 4 years or so, the man was overconfident that he was going to win this election. Because again, he had begun or rather kicked off his campaigns as early as when they were elected into office and forgot that there will be a time for campaigns. And I remember even politicians, and even during various programs you have had on this platform, panelists reminding Deputy President William Ruto that this is not just but going to be a sprint but a marathon, and he should prepare adequately because again, when the real race is being declared, it will be very difficult for him, or it will have gotten him really exhausted at a time when he is supposed to run the real race. And I think it is caught up with him at this time. The man looks very frustrated. It looks like everything is shattered. It looks like everything is not working out for him. That is why he's blaming each and everyone and everything around him, including even his own shadow, because there's an imminent defeat for Deputy President William Ruto in about 4 or so days when Kenyans go onto the ballot. And that is why he's coming out and blaming each and everybody. I don't understand how Deputy President William Ruto, a person who is at the top echelons of power in this country, the second in command, a person who sits in the National Security Council in this country, where President Uhuru Kenyatta really, an organ that President Uhuru Kenyatta really heads in this country. The Deputy President is the second when it comes to the National Security Council in this country, a critical organ of governance in this country, one that oversees and makes sure that the people of Kenya are safe and secure at every given minute. So when Deputy President William Ruto comes and vilifies the same government that he's serving in and trying to pass blame to President Uhuru Kenyatta, or even to his juniors, the likes of Matiang'i and Karanja Kibicho, these are just civil servants who are executing their job as dictated by the law and as conferred to them by their a call of duty. It is only an irresponsible government that will sit pretty at a time like this when we are going into an election whose atmosphere appears to be volatile, whose atmosphere appears not to be very, very promising, that will sit pretty comfortable just waiting for people to go and cast their ballot and go home without really pacifying and making sure that each and every part of this country has been pacified, that the security, the IEBC officials, and the Kenyan people who will be going to cast their ballot actually provided or guaranteed with that necessary security to ensure that they exercise the democratic right without any sort of coercion, intimidation, or any kind of threat. So I do not understand how DP comes out or the Kenya Kwanza Brigade comes out and begins actually passing blame to the security apparatus and government officials for conducting these meetings. I agree fully or 100% with what Douglas Bundi Kirimi has said, that what, for example, Matiang'i is doing, Karanja Kibicho is doing, is nothing new. Not only in 2017, but it's nothing new from what other holders of such office have had to do in the previous times like this one, in the circumstances that we find ourselves in. I mean, we've had the security apparatus really come together and make sure that they pacify and make sure that every Kenyan really feels secure and at peace, even as we go and exercise our democratic right. So maybe Deputy President William Ruto just wanted the security apparatus to stay away so that he can have a chance to continue intimidating and posing with threats, and perhaps even have an opportunity or a window to rig this particular election. But now that every office attempt to try and manipulate this election using probably some rogue officials at the IEBC or even at the grassroots, it is not working out well in his favor. In my own estimation, Miriam and colleague correspondents and all those who are watching us, I haven't seen or noticed any form of partiality or favoritism or even preference coming from the security apparatus or even coming from the head of state himself. Only that he has come out and says, this is my preferred candidate in as far as this election is concerned. That does not amount to saying this is the person who is ultimately going to become the president. I think it is just President Uhuru Kenyatta's desire that the people of Kenya vote in Raila Amolo Odinga. In his own judgment and estimation, is the person who is best suited to take this country forward. But still, there's an opportunity for the Kenyan people to go and make their choice at the ballot. That is why the president continues to remind the people of Kenya that whichever kind of the divide you choose between the Kenya Kwanza or the Azimio, the consequences will be for you to bear. It is not about President Uhuru Kenyatta. He'll be retiring in a couple of days and we'll go home. We'll go back to Ichaweri peacefully and continue to do his business, that which he knows too well. So this election should not be about President Uhuru Kenyatta. In fact, for the people of Kenya, this election is not about William Ruto. This election is not about former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. It is not about Wajakoya. It's not about Maure. It is about the Kenyan people and it's about the Kenyan nation. It's about us securing the future of this nation and the future of our children and for that of our children's children. It has nothing to do with these leaders. It's about us, and therefore we must treat it with the seriousness it deserves. It is not about us talking about William Ruto, Raila Odinga, or President Uhuru Kenyatta. It is about us thinking, how is our future going to be defined after the 9th of August? And all is going to be determined by the kind of leadership that we are going to install when we go onto the ballot. So we must treat this exercise with the seriousness that it deserves. Let's not look into the personalities of Raila Odinga, President Uhuru Kenyatta, or Deputy President William Ruto. It is about who is competent enough, who has the ability and who has the will really to move this country forward, who has the will and the competence to deal with the dragon called corruption in this country, because it is one of those major hindrances and impediments to our development and prosperity as a nation. So even in as much as we prepare and call upon on Kenyans to go and exercise the democratic right, it should ring at the back of their mind. They should be reminded at every minute and every day as we get into this election that this election is about us, Kenyans. It's about the people. It's about the prosperity of this nation. It's about the future of this Kenya. How we are going to vote is going to determine how this nation is going to pan out after the 9th of August. I submit.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tawish. And of course, Dr. Matiang'i responded to that press conference yesterday that Deputy President had in his official residence in Karen. Matiang'i said that the meeting had an agenda and also their minutes for that meeting. He noted that in any county, it will be foolish to call a secret meeting of hundreds of regional and county commissioners, chiefs, assistant chiefs and other administrators without expecting that the details would leak through phone audio and video. He challenged Dr. Ruto, who he noted sits on the National Security Committee and has boasted that he receives intelligence briefs even before the president to make public any such evidence in his possession. So he's saying, if you really think this is what is happening and your version of the meeting we had is different from what we had, because we had an agenda and minutes to back up the meeting that we had, could you please provide us with the evidence, of these allegations that you're making? I'd like to hear your voice on this, Jeevan Karanja.
Thank you.
Oh, Miriam, I haven't spoken.
And I think there are a lot of...
Oh, sorry. You let Karanja go and then you'll come, Dr. Nyanchama. I was not aware you're there, but after Jevan, you'll come. Jevan, go ahead, and then Dr. Nyanchama will give his sentiment.
Yeah, thank you. I think Dr. Matiang'i has given a very prudent response, because the Deputy President sits in the National Security Committee, and this is not the first time that the county commissioners and chiefs have been meeting. These people have been meeting throughout to plan and to execute the security measures in this country, to ensure they safeguard our country from any form of threat, and to ensure that all Kenya are safe in this territory. Therefore, there's nothing strange, there's nothing new with what William Ruto is saying. These people have been meeting, whether we have a general election or not. That is their job. They must go and assess what they have been doing, what they have achieved in terms of safeguarding our country and ensuring that the rule of law is adhered to. I think that is their job, and that is what the Constitution provides to. But to my surprise, and it's ironical that the Deputy President, who is the sitting Deputy President, who have been using public resources, who have reduced the official residence of the Deputy President to be his campaign conference center, where he holds rallies and conferences, is the one who is complaining that the former Prime Minister is being helped by the government to win in this election. One, the Deputy President is the second most powerful person in the country. And in 2017, when Raila Odinga raised the same claims that the government is using public resources, the government is using Matiang'i and Kinageficho to campaign for their re-election, Deputy President rubbished those claims and called them unsubstantiated claims that hold no water. Why is he today then thinks that the claims that he is making holds any form of, they hold anything as substantial? That's not how things are done. If William Ruto feels like the government is planning to intimidate him, he should give us concrete evidence that this is what the president said, this is what the president is planning, and give us something tangible. What William Ruto was doing yesterday, he was just throwing tantrums and throwing things that don't stand any ground to be taken seriously, because there was nothing tangible that he gave to the people of Kenya that shows that has the magnitude to raise and to show that he means what he is saying. Therefore, I think these are men who are sensed defeat, and these are just ways to keep his support base alert that anything can happen. And if I will not win this election, then the president and Matiang'i are the one to blame. What William Ruto is doing, he's just preparing ground to contest the presidential ground. And this is something that we have seen from Raila Odinga since 2007 to date. Raila Odinga is the one who was known to make all that kind of allegation. And what happened? He ended up being in opposition. Therefore, I think there's something with press, there's something with people who are going to opposition with this kind of presses. Therefore, I will not be surprised if William Ruto will be the next opposition leader, because from where I sit, he has been lying and he is just practicing what other opposition leaders have been doing in the entire African continent. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. Jevan, you're saying the Deputy President William Ruto is throwing tantrums, but he's accusing the Commander-in-Chief of plotting and planning to cause conflict in some parts of this country, because that is what he was essentially saying yesterday, Dr. Nyanchama.
Then
How
that is the case, Miriam, then he should give us enough evidence.
Yeah.
And the DCI, he should have invited the DCI and the people in charge to investigate. But William Ruto is just addressing, I don't know who he is addressing, whether he's in the, because they said that presser was an international presser. Maybe he is addressing the international community to come and help him. And I think that will not work. He need to address the right channel so that that thing can be looked at. And if there are any plans to rig this election, they need to be exposed as early as now. Why wait to go to the ballot and contest the win, then start giving us all forms of evidence? Why don't give the evidence now? And if the election will be suspended, let it be suspended at this junction, Miriam.
All right, I hear you. Thank you so much. And you know, the U.S. Embassy in Kenya issued an alert the other day of, all the U.S. citizens and the people who work for it should not be visiting Kisumu because there are possibilities of violence. So I don't know if that is part of the planning and plotting. But this level of accusations, Dr. Nyanchama, without providing, evidence to back it up, the impact of such sentiments.
Oh, thank you, Miriam. I have sat silently, listened through. Now that the area session was over, let me answer the question first.
Dr. Nyanchama, you're not limited to just this. You can also add your voice to some of the issues we've been speaking about. I did not know you were present there, so I apologize for that. Just pick on all the issues that you feel like we've discussed, and you'd like to add your voice to that, even with this one. Go ahead.
I don't want to pull the session backwards, but I can put just one word. Firstly, Miriam, you asked whether President Uhuru Kenyatta is right in trying to say what he has done. From my own perspective, I usually tell people that there is no one who can tell you a story more than yourself. And I want to urge my fellow panelists, please tell your story. If you have made great achievement, stand up and tell the story. In that respect, President Uhuru Kenyatta, for 10 years, it could be great injustice. If in fact we suppress his right to tell Kenyans what he has done, because he's in the home stretch lane. For me, he's doing the right thing. He's telling people that these are the projects I have implemented or initiated in the time I came into office. Because I had a proposition that all Kenyans can see, just for a while, Miriam, just think about it. There are those who can see, but if there are those who can see, but there are those who are blind, only want to hear. What about them? That is why he has to say it, so that for those who are blind can also hear. To that extent, I don't want to labor. The president has a right to tell his story on what he has done for the period Kenyans gave him a mandate to lead us. That is the far I can go, the first question. Second question, Miriam, I was in fact shocked beyond repair when I personally watched the deputy president addressing Kenyans on a matter sensitive as such. In fact, from an Alleges perspective, it bordered on what we call blasphemy. It is blasphemous. I mean, how do you stand before Kenyans and say a head of state who took an oath of office wants to incite Kenyans to kill each other? I mean, he went beyond. I am telling you, Miriam, it is unbelievable. It only happens in Kenya. Why do I say so, Miriam? A leader in position You don't show fear before the people you lead, irrespective of the challenge that faces you. Look at Moses. Even when he saw he had no alternative, people panicked when they were crossing River Jordan. What did he tell them? My people, be calm. We're going to cross, and those fellow soldiers will be dead by evening. What did Moses do? He ran to the bush and cried only before God, I have told them. It's when he said, go for it. What does it mean, Miriam? I want to advise the deputy president because I've seen the weakness. Whether he's facing a challenge, he needs not to show fear before the people he leads. He needs to show it only to God, and God will give him a liberation. It is very unfortunate, Miriam. Very unfortunate. Sorry to say these words. And I can tell you the problem. And let me say this, Miriam. In Kenya, the day the power of love will overrule the love of power, Kenya will know peace. Let some of these leaders not cheaters, or what they love is power. There is no love for people. And this is why I want to say here in this conversation, the deputy president was absolutely out of order. I am telling you, Miriam, and let them hear this message. We must seek, Miriam, as a nation to understand nation building in terms of seeking to achieve two critical goals. If Kenyans are not listening, let them now listen. Two goals: physical cohesion and political coherence. I want to emphasize, Miriam, cohesion without the coherence is like having a body without a soul. And the soul here is peace. These political nonsensical pronouncements, which are geared to destabilize the nation, must be condemned with the greatest severe words possible. And that is why from this particular conversation, we condemn them and tell the deputy president, if he has evidence, there are journals, he needs to channel them and they meet and discuss. The world, Miriam, is shocked that such utterances can be made in public. For now, Miriam, I submit. But remember, Miriam, I'm a very disappointed citizen when I listened to those words coming from a deputy president, a personal part of the leadership. And let me tell you, Miriam, people have been abusing the president that he should not come out to say the characteristics of his stupidity. Let me tell you, he needs to. And what the deputy president didn't know, he justified the allegation of his boss, who's the president, because he showed a lot of carelessness, a mistrust, a person who's not sensitive to the unity of this republic. Miriam, I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Dr. Joseph Nyanchama from Nairobi. Thank you so much, Doc. Now, to another story now. I don't know if all of us have had a chance, Kiptanui, I don't know if you've had a chance to give your thoughts on this before we move on. I'm not sure. Okay. So Azimio Moja One Kenya coalition candidate Raila Odinga yesterday won big after the High Court ordered the use of a manual register as backup in the Tuesday's general election, reversing the electoral agency's decision to use an all-electronic voter identification system They say it was to curb irregularities. Mr. Odinga had been pushing for the use of manual register, insisting that the move by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to face it out was unconstitutional. Justice Thande Mugure, in a ruling in a case filed by human rights groups, found that the decision by IEBC to abandon the printed register violates the Constitution, which provides that where an electronic voter identification device fails, then use of a physical register would suffice. On IEBC's insistence that only the electronic register, popularly known as the Kenya Integrated Election Management System KIEMS kits, will be used during the polls, the judge asked what will happen if a voter's details cannot be picked by the kits. The decision of the commission to strictly rely on the KIEMS kits to identify the 22.1 million registered voters during the polls was based on fears of possible abuse of the physical register. Its decision was backed by Deputy President William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance, which said an all-electronic voter register to identify voters would avert any rigging attempts. The decision by the courts yesterday means that all voters' names have to be physically crossed out in the printed register, whether or not they are identified electronically. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I'll start with you, Gladwell.
Thank you so much, Mir.
Go ahead. Gladwell, can you hear me? Okay, we seem to be having a bit of an issue there with Gladwell, so I think when she's able to be back, then I will have her back. Jevan Karanja, your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. And I think the former Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, has really pushed to have the manual register used in these coming polls on Tuesday. I think it's a milestone achievement, because at the end of the day, we have seen in various countries which have held their elections recently, these electronic devices failing to meet the requirements or failing to meet the expectation of the commissioner of the election and the expectation of the people of those particular countries. Therefore, in my own opinion, I think there's a reason why we need this manual register. One, there are people who maybe will not be identified by these KIEMS kit, but they can be identified. They can check their name in the manual register, which I think there's nothing new, because in the last election, these two things were used concurrently. I think it's a good move at the end of the day, because every Kenyan have a reason to vote. And if these systems, to some extent, they fail to identify the people, I think if everyone can be given a right, and if that means using the manual register to guarantee Kenyans their freedom to exercise their democratic right of electing the leaders of their choice, then let it be. I think, Miriam, where we need to put more emphasis, as if I was the one who was being asked on how we can streamline the IEBC, more emphasis should be put on the transmission of the results, because that is where everything bad, everything wrong goes with the IEBC. Because you find that all major problems that we have in this election, they all emanate from the transmission part of it, because that is where we have people cooking the forms. That's why we have people getting the wrong, faking the form 2, the form, whichever forms that the returning officers use. And at the end of the day, that is how election get manipulated. I think the way we put more emphasis on the identification of voters, the same emphasis should be put on the transmission part of it. But I'm very optimistic, and I'm happy to see the IBC met with the representative of various presidential candidates, and they all agreed on the ways of how these votes will be transmitted from the polling centers all the way to the national tallying center. I think from where I see it now, IBC is ready for this election. And it's about time Kenyans come out in large number and vote for the leaders of their choice. And Kenyans should understand that if we vote bad leaders, it's us who will suffer the consequences of bad leadership. If we vote good leaders, it is us Kenyans who will benefit, who will get access to quality services, to quality development. Therefore, the choice is ours. And it's not about which side you are supporting, but let's come out and vote, because at the end of the day, every vote matters. And that one vote is the vote that might transform this country and make it a better place for all of us. Therefore, at the end of the day, let's come out, let us vote, and leave the rest to IEBC. I think this time round, they have proved that they are ready to carry this election in the right way and guarantee credibility and fairness. And maybe if we have because at the end of the day, Miriam, what I'm sure of, we'll have people who go to court to contest the outcome of this election. I think they should go, even if they'll go to court, let them go knowing in mind that IBC tried its level-based without leaving so much gaps like what they did in 2017. But as time goes, we'll keep checking and having an eye on what will be happening across the country. And maybe on Wednesday next week or Thursday, maybe we'll come here and try to see what IBC did, what IBC delivered, and what they promised, and have a contrast on whether they guaranteed or what the outcome of this election really reflects the will of people of this country.
All right. Thank you so much, Jevan Karanja. Of course, Electoral Commission and Kenya Kwanza were pushing for the use of an all-electronic system in the polls, but the Constitution provides that there has to be a physical, register. So I don't know what that will mean to the other side. Gladwell, we had a bit of a technical hitch. I don't know if you're able to speak now.
Miriam, sorry, I had a technical hitch, and what I'm trying to say is, with the elections, a manual register is very important, and also comparing to the last elections, we are there. Miriam, reason being, there's some people as you go to vote, I don't know what happens with the thumbnail, and maybe the KIMS-KIT can't detect you. So this is when that let's go back and they have to search your name into the manual register. So what happens if your name is not there? Miriam, assuming you've been at the polling station from 6, and maybe the queue was very long, and maybe you are rained on, and maybe the sun is scorching, only for you to go find yourself that you're not there. And I'm saying this because I've witnessed with the last elections that have been there. I being an agent, these are things that happen, Miriam, and we find it difficult because when your name misses, we go back to the manual register, and you can imagine everybody's name is there. So you have to also to find where your name is. And this does well with the people because at the end of it, that means we have to vote because there's now a KIMS-KIT and a manual register. Your name can miss in either of the two. Your name has to be either of the two. So Miriam, a manual register this time is very important. I don't know why the IEBC want to change the tactic that they have been using. I don't know what they are up to. Because, Miriam, what happens, for instance, when the electricity goes off and you don't have generator, for instance, where I vote, Juja from primary in Kalimoni, that is in Kiambu, Juja constituency, they don't have a generator. So what happens if the electricity is off? For instance, the last time electricity went off, they had to use the manual register again for quite some time, and people actually, their names were also there. So, Miriam, I don't think... This election will be fair without the manual register. Issue should be there because it has served as a purpose, Miriam. And when them introducing the manual register, because they saw the purpose that it served with the few elections that they have used it. So, Miriam, I also agreed. Let the manual register be there. You can't exactly rely on the manual or on the KIMS-KIT because I've told you some people were with the index. No matter how you try cleaning their thumbnails, I don't know what happens that their names can't reflect. So, and you can't keep on trying when they've got thousands of people lining up. So, Miriam, can they bring back the manual register? And the training is already on, and and you've talked about it because the clerks and the DPO and the rest are still having their training today because the agent today and tomorrow, and the agents are having their training on Monday. I'm still waiting to hear what happens when the manual register is on because I'm still curious to know what happens when the manual register is not on, Miriam. I need to hear the tactic that is going to be used, Miriam.
Okay. Thank you so much. Kitanui Savania, still on the same that ruling by the courts yesterday.
Thank you, Miriam. It's thank you for this conversation. Miriam, as we said in earlier submissions about the manual register, if we could have not used the manual register, there are some, and IBC told us one time that there are some other polling stations which have not have difficulties in accessing the 5G, or you see, and because it is a technological issue, technology is set to fail. You see, last time Dr. was telling us his phone is off. It has suddenly switched off. So this also is a technological issue. It can even switch off. These KIMS kits are not reliable sometimes in other polling stations. So it is actually good because we could have even, it will actually open another era whereby if your name is missing in this kit, it can be we can check in the manual register. And before Miriam, another panelist, before we came up with these kits, well, we've been using manual registers. We've been using manual registers. So let us actually embrace this, that when your name is not be found in this kit, it can be checked in the manual register. If it is there, you are allowed to vote. So fingerprint technology, Miriam, is another technology that tends to fail sometimes. Sometimes you just go there, you check your details, they are not there. So it is actually good. So it's good move. I want to join my fellow correspondents and my fellow panelists and other people to say that we are moving well. Now that we have a manual register, it is also a score. Many people, Miriam, could have gone to court and challenge why is it that the constitution says manual register must be there with this KIMS kit, with this KIMS kit. One person could have that could have been even another milestone for these people who will be challenging these elections. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kiptanui, for your sentiments. And of course, if I can also just give my input on this. Anyone who really means well for this country and especially for this election will not be at the forefront fighting the alternative manual register in as far as this election is concerned. Because again, all of us really are interested in having a free, fair, and credible election, one which is beyond reproach. And the only way to do this is to have all these, of course, available alternatives, so that in case one fails, just like my other correspondents have said, we can have the other as the alternative. And I think Gladwell, as well as the other correspondents, have indeed mentioned this to the effect that assuming, for example, we do not have electricity, or even you don't have a generator, or the electricity goes off and you do not have a generator, how are we going to use this KIMS kit, identify voters electronically? It becomes, very difficult to do this. And that's why you see, Miriam and my fellow correspondents, normally you should always think about the what will be the backup in case option A really fails. You need to have option A, B, and C. In case A fails, you'll go for B. In case B fails, you'll have to go for C. That is why you see, in as much as you could be having, let me just give an example of electricity, as Gladwell was trying to mention. Electricity goes off. We have a blackout, for instance, and also maybe a generator you do not have, or maybe you do not have, there was not enough sunshine. Therefore, it implies you cannot use your solar panels. It only means that you can only resort into using a generator. So having all these as options or alternatives when it comes to, of course, this exercise is very, very important. In that, when electronic devices fail, then we can opt to have, of course, the manual register. In any case, there will be no problem in having the two, of course, registers, one in the electronic system and one which is manual. Because often, for the longest time I've been voting, I remember this would be my fourth time to vote in as far as elections are concerned in Kenya. And the last about 2 or so elections, we've had the electronic, of course, identification and voting, in which case we've also had the manual register as a backup, so that in case maybe your name by omission or commission has been omitted in the voters register electronically, it can be identified in the manual register. So when you find people who really want a credible, free and fair election, fighting the use of a manual register as an alternative in case the electronic devices fail, these are people who are maybe having some other underhand deals, people who perhaps know what they want to do with the Kim's kit, people who perhaps want to eliminate or remove some names or even increase names in various polling stations or areas in this country as we get into the election. So it's important that we have these two voting kits, that is, of course, the electronic and also the voting, the manual register. Miss out from the voting. You remember last time we had difficulty even in people identifying their registration status when they go to the ballot, because maybe the fingerprints could not be identified very well with these electronic devices. And the only way you will help this voter really not to go home without voting is to use the manual voter register to identify their name and allow them really to exercise their democratic right. So I welcome that decision by our courts. I welcome that proposal. It's Raila Odinga's Azimio la Umoja has really been pushing for this. I do not understand up to date why Deputy President William Ruto has been vehemently opposed to having a manual register as an alternative in case the Kim's kit really failed. Maybe there's something he knows that we do not know. Maybe there are some other things played at the back of maybe underhand deals that are being played to manipulate the outcome of the selection to the extent that he's siding even with IEBC officials to vehemently oppose the use of a manual register as an alternative in case the electronic voter register really fails. So this is a welcome move. It's something that we all really support, and we hope that it's going to provide Kenyans with that opportunity to exercise their vote without any hindrances. Miriam, I submit.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Nyanchama, as you add your voice to this, please conclude for us the show for today.
Oh, thank you very much, Miriam, for this wonderful opportunity. Firstly, as my colleagues have said on this, I concur absolutely. As we usually say, just put a good person in a bad system, and the system will win every time. That means the manual system should be part of the automated system so that the system becomes good. Miriam, I get surprised. You know, the Supreme Court was very clear. I don't know why IBC did that to wait until another court interprets it. It was very clear. There has to be a manual system which should complement that one. It was as simple as that. I concur. I don't want to add much, Miriam, on that. As you have said that we conclude, I want to say this, Miriam. Please allow me to, as I've now even remembered when I look at leaders now coming out with the funny behaviors at this end when we are approaching the elections. One person said that men of genius are admired. We admire some of these leaders. Men of wealth are envied. We envy them. And men of power are feared. We fear them. But Miriam, it is only men of character who are trusted and respected. And we want to urge Kenyans, be peaceful. And as you wake up very early in the morning on the 9th Tuesday, 2022, please put in leadership a leader who you will trust, who will take your vision to the next level. And I want to urge on behalf of Punch Africa TV that please let us be peaceful and appeal our leaders. This life simply means more than the ambition for power. Let's elect upright leaders so that we catapult our nation into a middle level or even at best a developed country. But there is one disease which we need to address, Miriam, as we consider who to elect: the issue of corruption. I hope Kenyans are aware, As much as the Roman Empire had very sophisticated legislation in place, it was brought down by the enemy called corruption. We want our country to stand and achieve the ideals that has been espoused by various leaders, let us put in place leaders of integrity, leaders who have the interest of Kenyan citizens at heart. That is the appeal we need to make as we approach the election date. Miriam, I submit.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Nyanchama. And on that note, we come to the end of our show today. Thank you as well, Javan Karanja, Samuel Tawish, Kitanui Savania, Douglas Kirimian, Gladwell Kiragu. Indeed, a lot of Kenyans are excited and looking forward to change some of this leader. I know we're just stuck to the presidency, but there are people who are critical as far as deliverance of services are concerned in the counties, the MCAs. Nobody's thinking, of who they should elect when it comes to these positions going down. We're just stuck up there. So all of these leaders, I think Kenyans will have an opportunity to vet and to choose who best can represent our aspirations in every position of the leaders that will have the opportunity to go and elect next week on the 9th of August 2022. Thank you so much for your time. This has been the Unfiltered, the week that was, and a lot of the stories that we've looked at, the news items. These are things that we have been looking at and have been developing stories. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Hopefully we can meet here on Sunday, God willing, with Africa Showdown, where we can continue, and we will continue with some of these, developing stories. Thank you so much, and have yourselves a wonderful weekend.